you miss all that? Do you want me to start over? Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is March 19th, 2024, Poundridge Library Board Meeting. If I say your name, please say present. Mary Ellen Walsh,
Present.
Ann Benefico,
Present.
Valerie Nelson,
Present.
John Cristiano, Mike Clark. Okay.
Present. Still present.
And then absent is Jennifer Savage, Jenna Weiss, and Selena Chenis. Okay, so do I have a approval of February 15th, 2024 board meeting minutes?
I make a motion to approve the board meetings from February
15th.
2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, great. Well, we have 6 people here. Do we want to set the next board meeting?
All in favor of the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Sorry. Yes, you know me. Yes, we do. We have 6 people here. How does everyone feel? We're kind of sticking to Tuesdays if that works for everyone. So what does everyone feel about next month? It's 23. Does it work for everyone? April 23rd. Valerie, Mike, everyone? Jennifer? Alan? Okay, great. Okay, so we'll do April 23rd, 7:30. Okay. And then if we could just let the other board members know who aren't here today. Okay, next up is Ken Gilman, Buildings and Grounds. And your fire inspection.
Yes, there was the fire inspector was here back a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Came up with a report of things that are not up to snuff. Only because half of them have changed since the last fire report. But that's all right. He had 15 items. Of the 15 items, 9 of them have been taken care of. 6 of them were taken care of before he left the building.
Am I correct? Is it the same fire marshal that was there last year, or is it a new person? It's a new person, right? Yeah,
Person, so different eyes.
Yeah.
Or
that's what I thought.
also some of the some things have changed.
Okay,
'Cause all of a sudden, he wants CO detectors downstairs.
yeah, okay.
And I'm sure that's simply because of a change in what's needed for a building like this or whatever.
Totally understand.
We're waiting on Nikon to fix one thing, Nikon, the security
Yes.
people, to fix one item. And other than that, everything should be taken care of, I would say, within the next week or 10 days. That's on the report. Then he'll come back, he'll bless us, and we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
Anything else?
Questions?
Any
That's
questions
all.
about the fire marshal?
That's all I have for you tonight.
Great. I know there's some issue, nothing major, but a couple of things with the cottage that you're going to take care of. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
some repairs, whatever that.
And just to let everyone know, there's no leaking in this building. We've had a lot of rain. So the new roof really, was the culprit. And we always have to make sure that we check our access road back there because we've had so much wind with the trees and everything coming down.
Yes,
And
I checked that, and also Tony Lupino is going to be taking care of probably making some sort of a culvert for the people back there, because I won't say there's been flooding, but when we've had inordinate amounts of rain, water sits on the side of the driveway. So
yeah, no, yeah,
they'll
it
take
is.
care of
Okay,
it
that was
and-
my next question.
Yeah.
The driveway back there gets really flooded.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
The driveway leading to the home.
Yes, yes. When we have heavy rains, like Ken said, it gets completely washed out. We need some kind of drainage system. A culvert. Treasurer's report, Mike Clark.
To follow, because once we get to the financials, I probably just want to know why things don't exactly match up. But as I listed, the first thing that happened was on February 21st, I transferred the cash reserves from our endowments, all three of them, to the Pound Ridge Library. And I don't see that on the balances. I don't know how they are accounting for that in our financials. And then on February 28th, I transferred, we got a transfer from Pound Ridge of $100,000. But that's listed on the financials as 129,000. So those are the things that I would question as we look at the financials. The other accounts are just reflective of these transfers, and the remaining balances in our endowments are still exceptional, and the Key Bank is also stable.
Any questions?
Mike, the Key Bank account where we've, I guess traditionally we were only keeping like 5,000 in the checking account, remember? So now, so here it says 40, what happened
Yes,
there? Okay.
they transferred several things, interest payments and things.
Oh, okay.
So will you follow up with Mike Clark? Not Mike Clark, with Mike Lewis, sorry. Sorry, with Mike Lewis?
Sure, yes.
Like
I
you're
was going to
saying, the
ask Heidi, but
financials?
she isn't here yet.
Yes, she is. She just
She
walked in.
just
Oh,
walked
good.
in,
I'll
yeah.
ask her.
Okay, great. Yeah, she just, I just saw her walk by. Okay, are there any other questions? So the town always gives us $100,000. There was a delay because we didn't give them our new Chase accounts. But now we should expect the remainder of 674,000. April 30th is when the town collects that. And we usually get it, Mike, the first or second week of May. So we just have to follow up on that. And that's the rest of our taxes. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, let's go through the warrants. I have one question, but overdrive, what is that? Oh, that's right, ebooks. It's the ebooks, the digital. Okay. So we really boost up that, which is great, because I know we've had a lot of. No, I think that's great, because I know a lot of people come in and ask, because I'm here, and that's the ebooks and everything. That is a big movement in this library as opposed to also other libraries. Are there any other questions with the warrants, the invoices, guys? No? Mike?
I just have something for the future. I really can't go back further. One thing that we had done was to change Mike Lewis's schedule. It's difficult to tell now because there was always also the audit going on, but I don't know whether there's been a change in his monthly bills as a result of that. So at some point, I'd like to go back over the last year and see whether we've noticed any changes after our efforts.
Any other questions? Or
The
comments?
auditor's fee. So that's it says audit 2023 75%. So is that how they bill us? So after they issue, we pay the remainder?
Yes.
When do we pay the 25%? Is that closer to year end or something when we?
Usually, so they come in or they give a report, and after they give their final report, and then the invoice usually comes a month after that. Yes. So 75% upfront and 25% after they give their final report. Which should be, I don't know where Mike Lewis stands. I don't know if Mike Clark has an update, but it should be usually April or May. So if it's in March, maybe next month or the month after. So we should get the bill, John, probably in June.
Yep, that's fine. I was just curious that it comes through. It's actually better.
Any other questions? Is this accurate for $42,630.57? Do I have a motion to approve $42,630.57?
I make a motion to approve the warrant for 42,630.57.
Do I have a second?
Second.
John, second. All in favor? Great, approved. Now, Mike, you're going to probably have to transfer some money.
There's currently $100,000 in the checking account, so we're good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, the cottage lease is up in October. Our tenants had a 2-year lease. They sent Jennifer, they'd like to renew. But I said that we have to bring it upon the board. My concern, not my concern, they've been very good tenants, by the way. They've paid on time and everything. But I would like a market analysis before we renew, just to see if because again, we are tax incentive, to see if we are in the ballpark of, are we below market value for rent, or are we right where we should be for rent? I don't know the rental market. So of course, I would love to ask Mary Ellen if it's okay with the board, because she is our resident realtor, if she could do a market analysis for us. Oh, thank you.
Hello? Yes, I would be happy to.
Great. And report next month on your findings? Great. Great. Does anyone have, if we do find it's 20, yeah. 2,600.
2,600, yes. Absolutely. I'll share the lease with you. I'm sure it's all in there.
I can't believe it's been 2 years.
In
already.
October, but
Wow.
this is the time that they started asking, and we have to, prepare ourselves. So great. So next month in April, we'll find out from Mary Ellen what we should be charging for rent, et cetera, et cetera. But again, the tenants that are currently there would like to renew their lease. Okay.
Is that a 2-year lease?
It was a 2-year lease. We can certainly do a 2-year, or we could change it, but it was currently a 2-year lease, and that lease is up October 2024. I know it's only March, but we have to think about these things.
Okay. Right, Marianne, you would charge something different if they did a 1-year versus a 2-year, right? You do the same number?
But they'd be locked in for 2 years.
Yeah. Microphone.
That's not abnormal because sometimes you'll put it out as a 1-year lease and somebody will ask for 2 and it gets switched and vice versa. So it's not abnormal.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mary Ellen. We look forward to that report. Okay, committee updates. Finance, John?
I mean, we have the numbers here. I'm going to say just no update. I don't think there's anything really, it looks pretty straightforward.
Okay, great. Governance, Valerie?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. In the Dropbox, you should see a library board self-evaluation. And so what I was hoping to do, originally I was going to have everyone do it on their own, but I figured we can just go around the room. But the idea is that on an annual basis, the board should evaluate itself according to a bunch of criteria that's expected of library boards. So my thought was we'll go through each section and then discuss our views on the rating. So the rating system that we devised is 1 is always, 2 is usually, 3 is sometimes, 4 is occasionally, and 5 is never. The first statement is around governance. Our library is governed by comprehensive written bylaws that define our structure, governing foundation. The bylaws are reviewed and reapproved at least once every 5 years. We have a set of board-approved written policies that govern day-to-day operations, and the policies are reviewed and updated at least once every 5 years or earlier. So thoughts on always, usually, sometimes, occasionally, never? I don't know if we just want to go around. Mary Ellen, do you have a rating for that one?
I think we have gotten ourselves into the always category, but we weren't there before, correct?
So this is for 2023.
Yeah, we've improved for 2023.
Okay. So you're saying always?
Mm-hmm.
Anne?
I would say the same. What was the second always?
Usually?
No, I would say always.
Always.
Okay, I'm going to be hard on ourselves. I was going to say usually. Mike?
Jennifer, can you make that bigger at all? So that we can read it?
Yeah, it is. Yep. It's just called library board self. It's not a printed, it's in the Dropbox. Yeah. There you go.
Bigger. More. I'd say usually.
John?
Usually. Is this what we're going to do? We're going to just fill this out right now.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So
Is that,
it's-
are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's a tie.
1.5, we're averaging. Long range planning. We have a community-based, board-approved written long-range plan. Plan guides our library in fulfilling its mission, goals, and objectives. Mary Ellen.
I don't think we fall into always there. I think we're more usually.
Anne?
Let's see, I'm reading it. So we, I mean, we have a committee that does long range planning, and I think that we're doing okay with it, but I don't really know if we have a good plan in place. So I'll say usually also.
Usually,
I'll say usually as well. Mike?
Usually.
John?
Say we've always had a plan in place. If I'm gonna go by the definition, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can do usually.
Accountability and transparency. The board ensures transparency by providing board-approved written annual report to the community. The report outlines the library's progress, its meeting, its mission, goals, and objectives as defined in the long-range plan. Mary Ellen?
Easy, always.
Agree, always.
always,
Always.
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 Financial planning. Annually, the board prepares and approves a budget. This financial planning ensures the library's fiscal responsibility and its ability to fulfill its mission.
Always again.
Always for me.
always,
Always.
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 Program and service evaluation. The board periodically evaluates the effectiveness of the library's programs, services, and collections to address community needs. The evaluation process allows us to adapt and enhance our offerings. We provide diverse programming to address community needs, fostering a strong connection between the library and its patrons. Mary Ellen?
I'm on the hot seat every time. Always.
I mean, I think we do a really good job with this. Is it all, I mean, I think it's more always than usually, so I'll say always.
always,
I say usually.
I'll go always.
Always.
Okay. Facility and accessibility. No, program and, where was I? Facility and accessibility. Our library is open at least 40 hours per week. We maintain a facility that addresses needs, including a restroom as outlined in our long range plan.
Always.
Always.
always,
Always.
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 Technology. Our library offers a circulation system that facilitates access to the local library collection and other library catalogs. We provide equipment, technology, internet connectivity to address community needs.
Always.
Always.
always,
Always.
I just want to comment that some of these things don't sound like a board-related service, but I'll go with always.
Always.
This is what's required of the board. Information accessibility. We provide access to current library information in print and online, ensuring the community understands services, operations, and governance. Online information includes standards, reference, and the minimum standards for library governance.
Always.
Always.
always,
Always.
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 Staff development. The library employs a paid director in accordance with the provisions of section 90.8 of the regulations. Furthermore, library staff receives annual technology training appropriate for their positions.
Always.
I'm just reading and I'm
That's okay.
sorry. I'll say always.
always,
I say usually.
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 And finally, community partnerships. The library actively establishes and maintains partnerships with other educational, cultural, community organizations, enabling the library to address the community's needs.
Usually.
I'll say always.
always,
Always.
Usually.
Usually.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So we'll update that sheet of paper to save it and put it with the minutes. And
So then Valerie, next to each one, you're going to put a number. and
I
when it
will.
was a tie, you're going to do 1.5.
You
That's good.
got it.
Okay, thank you.
yep, I already did. It's already written down. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to mention here under governance I was looking at the bylaws again, related to trustee absences. Um, and I guess was a little surprised that our bylaws only reference if you have 3 consecutive absences as a trustee, the bylaws say that you then have to come before the board, and the board has to approve those absences, or that person should resign. And so what I wanted to throw out to the group, although I think we've updated the bylaws within the last 5 years, but if anyone has any other thoughts of how we should focus on absences. For instance, it says nothing about emergency meetings. To me, the emergency meeting should not be included in that 3 consecutive because those are often last minute things. It doesn't say anything about what if you miss 6 meetings, they're just not 3 consecutive, right? 6 out of 12, is that a problem? Were the 2 that came to mind for me. And so just wanted to have a conversation if folks had other ideas of how we should update that section, so that we can bring it in a future meeting.
I'd have to read it
Okay.
first. Okay.
All right, so why don't we bring the bylaws up? We'll put it in, we'll send it around. I'll highlight that section, but I think if anyone has any other thoughts or suggestions on another section, that's just the one that came to mind for me. And then we have a few policies. Do you have that separate, or are we supposed to do it here, Jennifer? Okay. So then there were a few policies, as we're trying to look at them, not all at the same time. So there were a few policies that, I think the easy one. Yeah, I think the hours was the easy one. We suggested no changes to the hours. Anyone make it want to, oh, sorry.
Can I have a motion to have the library hours remain the same? If there's no discussion?
I second.
No, you have to make,
Oh, I thought you made it. Sorry. Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the library hours as indicated in this
on the policies.
in this policy. And it's basically the same as last year, so it's the same. Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is internet usage, which, by the way, we haven't updated this policy since 2011. The only thing I saw, which is highlighted in yellow, there seems to be some kind of a typo, and I honestly can't tell what it was supposed to say. So, but it says the library reserves the right to terminal use for reference. I'm assuming it's to terminate people's use, but I don't know why it says for reference, because that doesn't make sense to me. So we just need to figure out what we want to say there.
I think the terminal in that sentence matches the terminal in the previous sentence, and the question is more what the for reference meant. I think I think it's trying to say that the library staff has first dibs on the computers. Do you agree, Jennifer or Alan?
No, I mean, normally the library staff doesn't use those computers, so.
So then maybe in 2011 they did.
So long ago, we might have only had one access to, only one person be on the internet at a time.
Possible.
Yeah, so
Terminal.
it seems like that's even redundant. So we could just take that out.
So the only thing that it just says access to the internet, though, is a first come, first serve for 30-minute sessions. So the question is whether there should be something in here that the staff reserves the right to kick someone off if they need to. I don't know.
So because everyone's on the internet these days, I just thought the 30 minutes was just not relevant or appropriate, especially if people come in here to do research work and everything. It just doesn't make any sense to me. No, the terminal, I know, but I see people in the back.
Right, but there's only two terminals. So I think what it was trying to say, I think, is if you shouldn't sit there for 8 hours doing your job on a library terminal, because what if someone else needs it?
Right, but 30 minutes is too short. I
Too
think.
short, yeah. And I don't know,
What do
Alan.
you think, Alan? You're back
I've
there
never
with
seen more
them.
than 2 people back there ever.
Is there only 2? I thought there were 3. There's 2.
Sits where he sits.
What?
Push it up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, there are only two terminals. We did have a patron who did come in and sit at one of the terminals. Jennifer knows this as well. For a lengthy amount of time, he no longer comes in for whatever reason. Perhaps because we had to talk to him about foul language. But he did sit there for more than, I would say, at least 3-4 hours at a time.
Yeah, but my question was, is do
yes.
you ever have people waiting? I never see more than
No,
one person back there
There's
using the
no-
terminal.
There's nobody ever waiting. Um,
Other libraries
But,
have something called Envisionware, where they give you a ticket and every 30 minutes you have to go and get a new ticket. So 30 minutes is some sort of an average, I guess.
that is true. Yeah, that. um,
So this is and again, board discussion. We lose our electric and internet up here so much more than down county library, down county residents and so on and so forth. And we are a warming center. And we are, we are classified that by Westchester County, which we're supposed to have internet service and everything for, our neighbors and our friends and stuff, because when we do have these big storms, this is what OEM is about, and this is what we're supposed to be about.
But they can use the internet with their own laptop.
bring
This
our
is
own. Yeah, we
about,
bring
right,
our-
this
yeah.
is about terminal usage that, look, just because no one stood in line before, I still think you need a limit, or you need a way for the staff to be able to say, someone's waiting, you've been on it too long, you need to get off.
Yeah, this is just like at the gym when they say you can use the treadmill for 30 minutes and somebody runs for an hour and a half. As long as there's 10 of them sitting there empty, it's irrelevant. This simply gives the staff the right to say, hey, there is a 30-minute, and we can choose when the staff can choose when to enforce it and when it's not relevant. So I think you have to have it in the policy for that contingency when there is a line. But for the most part, it shouldn't be anything we need to pull the trigger on. But if it's not there, then someone could just sit there forever.
Okay, fair enough. I get that point. Fair enough.
Yeah, we still have to word that. Do we still want to word that highlighted sentence? The library reserves the right to terminate usage as needed. I mean, is 30 minutes okay with everybody? I do.
I think 30 minutes is fine, personally.
Oh, I would think maybe an hour would be more reasonable.
No.
30 minutes is not in that paragraph.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's
So with the
highlighted.
third, so then you can take that second paragraph out.
No, but you want to say that the staff can tell the person to leave. Like, so what's going to happen is the policy says 30 minutes, right? But a person's going to stay for an hour, right? Because no one's going to say every 30 minutes, your time is up, right? Unless there's 5 people waiting. So you just want the policy to be able to say the staff has the right to tell you it's time to leave. Yeah. I mean, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, literally there's a sign, Donut Delight, there's a sign that says, don't stay longer than 30 minutes, right?
But it doesn't say, or we're going to kick you off. I think it's implied by the 30 minutes that they have the right to do something about it, but it's such a small point. Please handle it as you would. I have the other yellow point, which is up there. I didn't know if you.
It said R before I changed it to is.
Okay, good. That's right.
I went over that sentence a million times.
I changed it. So I was just highlighting
Because
to what I
Is it
changed.
use is or activities? I didn't know what that verb was.
Yeah, it said R before. I thought it
Mhm.
should be is.
Okay. So we're going to stick with 30 minutes. Let's go back to and we still don't have a proper sentence for it.
I think it's just the library reserves the right to terminate use after 30 minutes.
I like that sentence. Does everyone agree with that? You have to do the microphone. John, you have to do the microphone.
John, we think that terminal really was supposed to be terminate. That's what we think.
Okay, but generically saying you can stop somebody from using the internet if they're standing here with their phone is not really something we can enforce.
No, I
right?
think it's the library reserves the right to terminate use of the terminal.
Okay, so
Right.
just for the optics.
I
can
will-
We say, can, we can keep them from, I guess we're referring to it as the terminal. It's like such.
But that's all we're asked. That's all the 30 minutes is only about the terminal. It's about
Okay,
the library's computer.
all right. Let's.
If you want me to
let's
change it to
terminate
call the
terminal.
if you want me to call it the library's computer instead, I'm happy to do that.
That works for me too. Terminate the terminal. I think,
the terminal.
I think that's clear.
Okay, so are we okay with these changes? Okay, do I have a
Yes.
motion to approve this policy with the changes that Valerie is currently making right now?
I move that we approve the internet policy as revised after the corrected that we approved here.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last one, monetary gifts to the district. I did not make any changes. Or did not make a recommendation for any changes.
So I believe that the finance committee should be reviewing this. I think that's a policy for the finance committee and the treasurer. I'm still waiting for a finance committee, and my bad, because I can see that when I circulated it, I left off one of the people in the finance committee. So what my plan would be is please review it. Thank you for putting it in. I think there's some logistical issues in terms of small donations and how Jennifer, our director, handles it. So what I plan to do is give it another week or two. And then Jennifer, if you're okay, we'll sit down and knock out what the exact logistics are in terms of these contributions.
Okay, just know on the list, we had it listed as governance and legal, just because I think there is a legal element, which is about what we can and can't accept, which is why I think it was in that bucket.
Should I make it a dual?
Sure.
Both.
You mean like a fundraising question?
Correct. Okay, so we're gonna make it dual and we're gonna table that for a week or two, and Mike and Valerie and Jennifer will go over it with the finance committee, okay? Okay, moving on, I have nothing to report from Jenna Weiss. Anyone else? No? Moving on, I have nothing to report from Selena. Does anyone? No? Okay,
To just thank Selena and Bonnie for jumping in with the
Oh.
patron purge effort. They made 50 phone calls each, and I just want to recognize the effort. Thank you.
you're welcome. We did, unfortunately, just a side note to that. I got about 80 to 85%, and I understand that that was, the library staff had the same percent that I did in Selena, where most of the numbers were unfortunately disconnected. So, but we have had some success, about 15% of people reaching out and renewing their cards. Okay. Out of, unfortunately though, the list had a lot of disconnected numbers. Moving on, and human resources.
Nothing new to report.
Okay, long range planning, John, anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Jennifer Savage is not here, but I believe her committee is for the children's.
We are.
Okay,
Well, we can talk together.
Yes.
go
So,
ahead.
Mary Ellen and I came to the library and along with Jennifer Coulter, we did a Zoom. Well, we didn't do a Zoom. We just had the diagram up on the, right, the new diagram. So if you remember in the previous meeting, there was Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and now we came up with Plan D. And this is for the children's room refresh. And, so the design is up there. And obviously, we're trying to keep it as, as economic as possible. So just very quickly, I can tell you all the shelves that are around the perimeter of the children's room are going to stay. So we're going to make use of those. Other shelves we're going to like redesign. We're going to lower, and I don't know who's been into the children's room recently, but we already kind of modified that a little bit. We're lowering them because of the eye level of the children. So they're going to be 3 shelves as opposed to 5. We're going to make, just like we made use in our new reading room, our fiction room, of those 2 posts that can't be moved. We're going to make use of those posts. And we are going to, you can see the round tables around them, kind of like, they look like trees in that picture there. Those are, one of them is going to be the iPad table, and the other one is going to be the computer table. The computer table might be a little bigger, oval shaped, and so that's what those are. We're adding, adult seating. We're obviously, we're hoping to paint and to add new carpeting. There's going to be a beautiful nook by the window at the far end. And the theme, as you can see, is all going to be like, nature and trees and tree houses, forests. And now we haven't gotten price, we haven't done really any pricing, although I did see something in the Dropbox with, I saw something from CLC in the Dropbox. Is that that's for our children's? Okay. All right. So we kind of, Jennifer Savage has not seen this yet. She's our committee chair. She was away, for a college visit with one of her children, but, we would still like to confer with her. And then, I don't know what the next step would be. Do we vote on the
So
design?
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, of course.
Because I saw it in the
Mhm.
Dropbox. I'm in the
Okay.
Dropbox. How many books are we
Mhm.
eliminating?
Purging,
Purging.
Yeah, go ahead. Jennifer has that.
With the current design, none.
Really?
I do want to purge some of the older ones, and we're gonna. But yeah, it's minimal. It's stuff that has to go.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mhm.
And you see these little moss mounds?
Mhm.
Those are like
Yeah.
beanbaggy things?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then,
And this is the one I'm most excited about, is the front facing bins that are going to be at the children's eye height and reachable height, as opposed to the ones, as you can see here. The spine out just does not call to you the way that a front facing one does. I'm really
Okay.
excited about those.
love it.
In fact, Hannah said that once you made that change just on that upper shelf, that books went out that never went out.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to make a huge difference.
I love it. I love that tree theme. I think it's so cute.
It-
And the table around, I think it's so cute.
So to answer your question about the next step, it's going to be, she's going to prepare a PowerPoint for the Children's Room Makeover Committee. We'll pick out the furniture like chairs and paint and
Mhm.
carpets and all that kind of stuff. And with that, she'll be able to build a budget for us.
Okay. So that's
That's
where
probably
we are.
next week.
Yeah, picking out furniture, fabrics, and colors. I like that.
Just a quick question. How is the foundation rep involved? Are they sharing these talks?
We're going to go to them. Hopefully they'd be interested in funding it
Mhm.
100%.
Any other-
Have a budget for it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Valerie, parking?
Thank you.
Yeah, so the latest, obviously, lovely that the architect offered to sit down with me, but of course doesn't respond to any of my requests to sit down. The last I heard is they hadn't talked internally first, so they need to do that before they could meet with me. So that's all I know.
Thank you, Valerie. Director's report. Jennifer?
The first thing I wanted to mention was the grant requests to the Pound Ridge Library Foundation. The first one is for the literary character photo opportunity for either Take Your Child to Library Day. or
Jennifer, could
Library
I ask you to
Day.
hit slideshow? That'll,
Hit slideshow. Layout?
slide where it says,
Nope. screen if you want.
To the right, all the way to the right, keep going. All the way, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, all the way right, keep going. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, they're all different. I know. So I put together the grant narrative. It's in the Google Drive. I don't know if you had a chance to review it all, but what it boils down to is it's $250 for the character to come visit. I put in advertising, supplies, little giveaway gifts, all that kind of stuff. So it comes out to $854. As you all know, it requires 100% participation and approval of all the board members, which are not here today. So I guess that's going to have to hold it.
So Valerie had a really good question.
Yeah.
Is it 100% board approval for the board members that are here? Because we have a lot of trouble getting 100% of the board members at our meetings.
Yeah, I guess it's vague the way that it's stated, but it says in their bylaws or their grant, the paperwork, wherever it's required 100% approval of the board. So it really didn't say whether they were present or not.
Can you,
present.
can you just ask Stephanie her feeling? Because
You want to approve it pending, like,
yes,
if the answer is.
that would be
the-
great. Yes, because, you know, tell her, we don't really always, we don't,
I know, yeah.
and we could go on for months and months and months and miss these opportunities.
Okay.
I have a few questions though
Sure.
about this. Is this done once a year, this, you know, this literary
child to the
character
library?
photo? How often is it done?
Oh, I don't know that we've ever done it.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think we've ever
But
done it.
would
Yeah.
it be a once a year thing? I guess that's what
I would like it to be.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I will try and build it into our budget for
Mhm.
next year, in the programming.
Okay, so is that why we're asking the foundation? Because we didn't build it into our program? 'Cause
Correct.
it doesn't seem like such a huge amount. Usually we go to the foundation for big amounts, and I was wondering why we were going to the
We've got the
foundation.
budget.
Now I
squeezed down
understand.
To the penny. I
Okay.
literally couldn't find $250.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. Thank you for explaining.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions on that? I'm leaving the occasion up to them because they are going to be doing an event in April for Library Giving Day. Maybe they want to use it for then. You know, I'm not committed to when it is.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this pending,
I'll make a motion to approve the grant request going to the Library Foundation for the character and promotion supplies, et cetera, of 854. Well, we'll say $900.
Second.
second, all in favor? Next.
The next request that we talked about doing to the Library Foundation was for Drag Queen Storytime. I'm going to go ahead and withdraw that grant because I was able to secure funding through the American Library Association in the form of a grant called Libraries Transforming Communities, and I will take the funds from that to do a story hour for neurodiverse kids because that's what the grant is about. This is all pending the vetting of the performer and the performance. I haven't seen it yet. So I want to go and see for myself that it would be worth the expense.
Do you think this meets the requirement of that grant?
Definitely. I put it in my grant proposal. Yep, it's for programs, technology, services for members of the neurodiverse community, particularly
So
focused on young adults and children.
This one, I mean, we've talked about this a couple of times. I don't think you have support of the trustees for this program. I mean, at least the last time we talked about it, I don't think the trustees were supportive.
My recollection was that the trustees were not supportive of funding it, and they were not supportive of having it at the library on library grounds. The compromise that was, I got the impression was that as long as we got funding elsewhere and we didn't hold on library grounds, for example, over at the park, then the board was okay with it.
But if it's sponsored by the library in some way, you end up at the same place.
Well, tell me if you're interested or not then.
Again, that was just my view of the last time we talked about it.
You know, I think it's such a very topic that is well received by some people, but other people it's not well received. And it's all about optics. And whether we get a grant or not, if our name is attached to it, people won't know if it's a grant or if it came from their tax dollars. And since it's such a topic that is so controversial, I could see 50% of our residents thinking it's okay, but I could see another 50% not. And therefore, to be attached to something so controversial, when there are things like this out there in the public, we don't necessarily have to be the one not sponsoring it, but putting our name attached to it. And that's my feeling because it is a controversial topic.
Yeah, It's absolutely divisive, 100%. I agree.
Do
Yeah,
I have
that's fine.
other trustees' opinions?
Yeah, look, I think we talked about this even a couple of times. And I think we should be more clear then. We didn't want to touch it. It wasn't about the money. We didn't want to touch it because of the sensitivity around this topic. That's why we weren't interested in funding it. It wasn't about the money. It was just something we didn't want. We continue to keep pursuing it and seeing it on the agenda. I'm not really sure why. And I think, appreciate you went out and got that grant. That we weren't going to have the foundation votes probably get it either. So I would just
The
table
original
this.
request came from the community, and the programming committee told me to go ahead and pursue it. So that's why I've been pursuing it. I completely understand where you're coming from. I have to go with my gut and say that I also am very scared of alienating half the town. It's not something that I would want to necessarily, but if it was something that we have, libraries have always been at the forefront of social change, and I feel like it's our duty to do that. And but this is just not a clear cut thing. It's just too on the.
I agree. I mean, there's the color run of the community, there's the partnership, there's Friends of Pound Ridge. We have a bookstore in town. No one seems to have, touched this, or everyone wants the library to be involved. So I guess, again, it's a very controversial topic, and I think there'd be at least 50% of our community. And we run this library on only tax dollars. So that's my feeling, that I think that we need to pass on this particular program. John made his mic. Mary Ellen, Ann? Okay.
Yeah, I support everything everybody has said, and then very sensitive topic.
But Jennifer, I do appreciate that you were going to go, like, vet.
I'm
the-
just
the-
following my instructions from the
entertainer
programming
and
committee. They
everything,
told me to
yeah.
see it through to the end. I've seen it through to the end, and that's the end. Fair enough.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you
Sure.
very much. I
Yep.
think we have a consensus, though, the present board, and this is enough for a quorum to just pass on the drag queen story out. But thank you again, Jennifer,
You're
for doing all the research.
No worries. I'm just bringing up some other possibilities of things that we could go to the foundation for grant wise. One of them would be a self-checkout kiosk. We visited the idea back when we were doing the library makeover, and there were just so many things going on back then, and we couldn't really picture where it would end up and what it would look like. But I revisited it now that everything's, the dust is settled, and there are 3 different options. We could choose a floor model, which has the benefit of mobility, a counter-mounted model, and a wall model. The price would be the cost of the equipment and then an annual licensing fee. Again, just wondering whether the board would be interested in going to the foundation with a grant request for something like this.
I personally feel that we're such a small community library that it's nice to come in and talk to someone behind the desk. And, I do use this library, as everyone knows, and I do take out books. And I like that customer service. I feel like, I know New Canaan has this, but again, they're servicing many more people than we are. So I do like the small town approach, and I think that's what we're about. I think we kind of lose that with this. And then we have another licensing fee every year, and that's my personal opinion, but board.
Jennifer, is this a nice to have, or is this something that covers when someone's not there, or a
Nice to
quick
have.
out? Okay.
Nice to have. I bring everything to your attention that's trending in libraries, or, for you.
Look, I personally like it. If you want the option to just come in, do your thing and leave.
And
there's
kids
a
these days, you know,
population
they
that
don't like
wants to do
talk
that.
On the phone, they like to text. Yeah, they would rather die than come up and ask for help.
Do
That kind of thing.
Do we have
So-
any data or knowledge about, and this might sound like a silly question, but lost materials based on this, right? Like if you're responsible for, like I know at the grocery store, when I check out my own groceries, when something doesn't scan and no one's around to help me, right? You either leave it or walk out because you can't do it. So I just wasn't sure if there's any data that supports people stealing books because it didn't scan appropriately.
Not that I'm aware of. We ran into a bit of that problem during the epidemic, in that we had people self-scanning, but we were standing right there, watching them and listening for each beep and everything. This one had a really cool feature, though, that you could download the app and scan a book out on your phone. So, for the future, maybe we're not there yet, but something to keep in mind for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I would only ask Jennifer if someone is using it like a New Canaan, if or if in the circle of
I do
WLS
actually.
or something like, and say like, are people using it? Are people not? Like what percentage if,
Well, for example, up in Yorktown, they don't do any checking out at all, 100% kiosk only.
Okay.
40,000 is their service population, so quite significantly larger than that.
Do we know if any of the smaller ones are using it yet or no?
I
don't
do
know.
not know. I
No.
could send around.
Okay, yeah, it'd be interesting
Well,
just
I
to
mean,
hear what other directors are hearing.
yeah,
I do- yeah.
and look, if you can, it's happening in a lot of places, if it can save you from somebody working there or some time, that's also something to consider, right?
Is there ever a line of people that,
Rarely.
No,
I mean,
Hardly
I
at
mean,
all.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I do, but yeah, I just don't know if
If
we're there
fine.
yet.
Yeah, I
It's
think,
inefficient, maybe.
I think of our
So-
local supermarket and, they installed these kiosks here. But I still go to the people on the counter.
They have
I know
customer
that.
service.
But if we were thinking of some kind of like in reserve if suddenly you had a staffing shortage, if to keep it in reserve, I might support that.
I was gonna say.
We have an
yeah,
annual
we're part of
fee,
that fee then.
which only goes up, not goes down.
Annual licensing fee. Didn't
Yes,
get to the
yes.
bottom, sorry.
That's what I said in my first statement.
Yeah.
The fact that we have an annual licensing fee and those things go up, don't go down, and are we, return of investment. And then, we're going to have to upgrade these things, in 5 years when none of us are on the board, these things will have to be upgraded.
I mean, that could use some research. That might not be the only vendor, but it's still pretty steep, yeah.
Okay, so moving along. Another thing that I was wondering if if the board would be interested in going to the foundation for a grant request for sponsoring or co-sponsoring museum passes. This is typically something that at other libraries, the Friends of the Library group will sponsor the cost of museum passes for the entire year. We did do a survey. And as you can see here from the votes that surprisingly, the ones in New York City got the most votes. I thought the local ones would be more popular.
Nope, I voted for New York City.
MoMA is really, I think, the shining star, but freaking Guggenheim did extremely well as well. So again, just want to know, I will do more research as far as how many people have used the passes that we have, and there's other options that are whatever. But I just didn't know if you wanted me to keep researching that, and if so, what?
Yeah,
information
I
you
would like the
gather.
foundation to pay, and I've used these museum passes. I did a survey in New York City because they're so expensive, these museums to go. That's why I chose New York City, to be quite frank. And I think some people also chose it for those reasons. And yeah, I would like it.
So would we go to the foundation for the new ones that we want to add, or for the program in general annually, ask them for?
That's a good
Fine.
question, because we currently, our budget for the museum passes is 1,500. If we were to add everything, when we did our survey, especially on Instagram, a lot of people wrote back, get them all. Why can't we get them all? And if we did that, it would be around $4,000 a year. So do we go in for them for 4,000? Do we go with them for 2,000 and we do the other half?
I forget what we have, so I apologize for that. But have we also, like the Intrepid, do we have that?
Yeah, we
Okay, we
do.
do, okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking of places I had passes for when my kids were little.
To call it. We've
Yeah,
got the
okay.
Intrepid, and we've got the
History
Natural
Museum, yeah,
Museum,
okay.
we've got Storm King.
Mhm.
Very
Yep.
popular. And then, of course, all the local ones, which are small costs, 100 there, 50.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm supportive of asking the foundation, and I think you can do it in two ways. You could do it in a pay for the new stuff, or would you like to sponsor this going forward to do all museum passes? I think you could do an either or grant request to them.
And I based the survey on the ones that all of the Westchester Library systems seem to have. So these are the most widely popular.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Valerie said, you could approach it two ways, but definitely do a grant and see what they're willing to pay, if anything.
Okay.
I know that New York City, am I correct? The New York City museum passes are much more expensive. Yeah, I know.
Okay, just formally announcing that we've been awarded the grant for the Library Transforming Communities. It's for $10,000 to focus on creating programming and purchasing technology for the neurodivergent population. We'll be holding a community conversation on Saturday, May 4th, inviting all those who are touched by neurodiversity to come in and vote on how they would like to see the grant money spent. This is a requirement of the grant. So I'm just starting to advertise that now. I just wanted to also let you know that April is Autism Awareness Month. And through the outreach program through Westchester Library System, I've been hooked up with a group called Yes She Can, which is a nonprofit that helps young women with autism get some work-related skill building. It's about half an hour every 2 weeks. Someone would come in and we would expose them to what it's like to work in a library, basically. So covering the same duties as a page. The person who has been matched with me is actually, she holds a master's degree in literature and wants to go into publishing. So we think this would be a really good fit.
Nice,
So I'm really excited about that.
nice.
And just to recognize, Jennifer did a lot to get this grant, and, you know, great effort. I know we've done some things with Carmichael and a few things in the sensory space. So I think this will be great to add more to what we offer. So thank you, Jennifer, for pushing that.
Yeah, a lot of the libraries are doing sensory rooms. Unfortunately, we don't have the space to do something like that, but the sensory story time is pretty popular. And just building on that. Dan?
So the 1-year mentoring program is part of the grant,
No,
or
that's
is that
just-
two separate?
It's separate.
Thank you.
Okay. You'd asked me to look into the rental of the lower level meeting room. Many libraries do rent their rooms and they typically do it in a block of hours. Say the first 3 hours is $50, you know, that kind of thing. And they do charge more for for-profit and private groups than they do for nonprofit. There's a lot of information here. I included in the Google Drive, the actual emails and policies and everything from all the libraries that responded to my request. And so based on this information, we do have one person who's interested. We also have a group that would like to use it just to play bridge. So I would like to have a informal, you know, whatever policy. So do we charge the bridge players, you know, versus do we charge the person who wants to come in and have a dance class versus, you know, that kind of thing.
So one thing I was thinking of as I was looking at this, Jennifer, was I know when I rented Conant Hall, I was obligated to get an insurance policy for my event. And like, I just start spiraling from a legal perspective when we rent out a room. And if they don't have insurance and something happens, then it's our insurance. And if they're charging people to attend something, it just feels, you know, worse to me. So I just go back and forth, honestly, in my head. The other thing I've been thinking of, because I know you've been really hoping to add some element of being able to sell our used books, is could we use that space also for bookshelves and have the books down there, even if we use the room for other things? You know, it's already done versus the space on this side, which isn't done, right?
First of all, I'm withdrawing my request.
Okay, you're done.
But I completely hear what you're
Yeah.
saying. We could always just ask COI, you know, but there's just too many ifs and
Yeah, and just to let you know, Conant Hall, you're absolutely right. You do have to have an insurance policy, a 1-day policy. You can get it online. And second of all, Conant Hall doesn't charge for any local organizations, and it's not booked that often, Conant Hall. So organizations can definitely go there. The community church has also been open for community events and you know, hosting there as well. So I feel like within this little circle here, there is enough space for people to inquire. But I agree with Valerie.
On your bridge canasta, whichever it was, I guess part of me says, if they just want to play down there, why can't they? But I wouldn't say it's blocked, and I wouldn't say other people can't be in the room as well. Not that I know why anyone else would be in the room, but I mean, that's one way to like, if I want to just come knit in the library, you're not going to kick me out. If I wanted to come read a book in the library, you're not going to kick me out. So I don't know.
Well, that's very true. As you know, we're getting 12 to 13 ladies knitting. We yak up a storm over there. And, you know, anyone and everyone comes from, they're not necessarily from this community. They've just heard about us and they come. It's not like we asked you guys.
Can ban one from, you know.
But if
Yeah.
a bridge, like you said, a bridge group approached you, are they residents of Pound Ridge?
Yes, and they've been playing
So-
together for 30 years.
So
They've
why
been
should
playing-
they have to pay they're
Yeah.
taxpayers. They shouldn't
I'm
even.
just saying,
Exactly.
Yeah.
if someone wants to use
Yeah.
downstairs here, the Bridge Club is playing for free. Why can't I use it for free? That I just would like
Mm.
to have some
It's a
consistency.
slippery slope.
But again, I think what Valerie said,
And why would
it's
they
right
need
in-
insurance to play bridge?
no.
Renting, if you're renting the room, right? So but we could state a policy that the room is first come, first serve. Whoever wants to use it, uses it
What's in the room right now?
but they can't charge anyone for
Nice-
anything.
Nice, big open.
Just an
room,
open
yeah.
space.
It's like a yoga studio down there. It's gorgeous.
And we don't
Yeah,
use it for
we
anything.
Use it, yeah, we use it for Mrs. Carmichael's Century Motor.
Has half a dozen programs down there. a
We've
month.
used
Yeah,
it. We've
yeah.
used
You-
it
I'm
for
saying you
art-
need the
art
open
class.
space, right? You need it open like that for the programs?
I mean, flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of the bridge group, they want to play on Thursdays, but we have something going on here. So I promised I would ask you guys, but we have a policy that we can't have two programs at the same time because of the parking. So I've asked.
and you know, we're getting a lot of ladies at knitting. That's a Thursday.
I
at
would love
3
to get it
o'clock.
to them on Wednesdays, but they've been playing for 30 years on Thursdays. I
Well,
don't
what
think
time do they
they're
want on Thursdays?
12 to 3, basically, to the
Okay.
same time that
And we get here
the
at
thing is
3.
going on.
And how many are there?
That's the thing. There's 4 of them, and they swore to me they would have no more cars than 3. Well, maybe 4, occasionally 5. Like if the number just kept going up, and that's like, you know what? If it was Wednesday, I'd have no problem with it. So the only thing that competes with it is Canasta, and they only have 2 or 3 cars. But Thursday is one of our busiest days.
If they could get out of here at 2:45, so the
Still,
knitting,
but that means there's 15 people in here for the great courses,
great
while there are
courses,
4
yeah.
or 5 downstairs, plus our 4 or 5 cars, you know, that are employees. It's just nobody's going to be able to come in and take out a book.
no, you're right, because I do Thursdays here at 3 o'clock and I struggled sometimes to find a space because the Great Expectations are here. Okay,
You would think four people, they could alternate their homes every.
Well, I asked them if they would carpool, and just one of them could come, go park at the park, and then I'll come over in one car. That I-
99
I-
Horseshoe Hill Road is available. That's it.
Okay. Great. I think that's the last thing from me. Yes, thank you. That's it for me.
thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, moving on, new business. Does anyone have new business? No? Okay, moving on, public remarks. We have 2 people. Richard, I believe is there, and he's probably also representing the foundation. Do they want to say anything? Jennifer? No?
No,
Okay.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Richard, do you want to say anything on behalf of the foundation or? Okay.
No, not really.
Okay, thank you. We are going to have a very small executive session. I would like Jennifer to stay for executive session. But if there's nothing new, we're going to close out this meeting. It's 8:33. You literally get a 1-minute break and we're going to go right into an executive session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.